Well, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to another little episode of Real Country with Jeff and Melanie. Today, just going to take a little walk on the back acreage of our place here in Alabama. Now, we're still some time away from deer season here. Today is actually opening day in Georgia. And as you may have saw from our last video, I intended to be hunting today. But with temps in the high 90s, and me and I were away from home, and really hadn't spent a lot of time scouting yet, I kind of made the decision that I'm going to skip today. Supposedly I'm the only one hunting on the property, and figured I'd wait till probably middle of next week if the forecast hadn't changed. Temperature should be dropping to about the mid 80s in the daytime, and a few nights getting in the 60s. So I'm thinking I may try a little afternoon hunt a day or two next week when the weather's not so bad. And maybe if I was to get lucky and get me a deer or a hog, I might not have to worry about the meat spoiling before I can get it home and process it. And so I decided not to hunt today, but I need to start doing prep work here on our place, even though bow season is another almost 2 months off. You can't get too early to check. So this is a little trip on the back side of our 2 acres of our little 4-acre place. Oh, let me ease over here. And I pretty much stay out of here except for during the season. And eventually we're going to build us a little outdoor kitchen back here in a country club, is what we call it. Just basically a little area we can sit, enjoy grilling and campfire away from the front end of our property, which pretty much near a highway. And it's pretty back in here. Got some big old white oaks. And our property leads down toward a creek. Even though the creek is not on my land, it's literally probably 40, 50 foot from it. But they will come up, and because I leave this back pretty much alone, they'll come up here and try to eat my white oaks. And we have some wild scuppering vines, as you can see. And we try to keep them in. And maybe you can pick this out. That's a good little winding deer trail right here through this tall grass. There's not many deer here. They mostly pass through. But if I can get out here and get in a tree and they pass through the middle of my land, every now and then I get lucky. I've never seen a mature buck back here, but we have had a couple rubbing and scraping back here. Oh, there goes me a nice snake. Old black runner. He's harmless. We ain't gonna worry about him. He's back here eating a mouse. I don't know if that caught on the video, but we'll take a look later and see. This spot's got cleaned out since last time I was here. I don't know if they're getting ready to make a little rub or scrape or what. But I have come back here earlier this summer and touched up a little mineral lick that I made several years back. Let's see how it's doing. Well, there it is. Oh, and speaking of the little snake, that's one of the very few I've seen back here, and we've been here 20 years. But yeah, let's see how this is looking. I put a 50-pound mineral block in here, and then scattered it with some trace minerals. You can see squirrel's been having a good time cutting them hickory nuts already. But I don't see a whole lot of sign here. Well, I take that back. Right there is a deer track. Right where I'm pointing to. Right there. It's faint. It's been a while. As you can see, they're working on my path. And that's fine. I'm hoping, and like I said, it's kind of a precarious situation back here. We live out in the county. We're a long ways from the city limits. So it's legal to hunt here. And I try to do everything legal. We don't shoot on nobody else's property. I don't hunt on the property line. I basically get in the middle of my land. And if somebody walks up, I try to make a good shot placement to where they do not leave my land. And almost all of them fall right where I shoot them. I just take my time. And you know, don't take much trial and error. But we have a few down trees. I cut this one. This is an oak. That's going to be my firewood this year. I got to get out here and cut it up and take it up to the barn and split it. But that was cut last year and it's still rock solid. So that one will be good. And there's remnants of another one I cut down there. It's already been cut up in small pieces. But we have a good canopy of overgrowth, and there's several white oaks in here. They should start falling pretty soon. And you can see we have some nuts here on the ground, but that's not the ones I'm really looking for. Ground is littered with these muscadines. Country folks call them bulluses. Make that pretty great muscadine fruit. Let me ease over here and see what I can see. And just so y'all know, let me flip this around a minute. Yeah, it's ugly old me. Try not to scare y'all too much. But just gonna take a look and see. Last year, I had the best intentions of the world. Uh-oh, here's a little brother. Turn this around where you can see this. Maybe a good winter after all. I've heard we're going to get a little cool weather. Just don't know if it'll last, but spider webs are everywhere. And these big old harmless spiders, they're stringing nests and webs everywhere. I'm going to make him work a little harder. Have to tear it down where I can get through. So this is the official spider web stick. Have to tote one every year, every time you come in the woods, because they're trying to eat just like we're trying to eat. And this is remnants of an old pine tree right here. A little fat lighter to use. I was going to see how an old scrape and rub looked from last year. Maybe been covered up with leaves falling since then. But let's look and see. I want to say last year. Yeah, here it is. Don't know in this dappled sunlight. Uh-oh. Got another spider web. But right here, maybe you can make it out from about right here where my stick is. right in this area right here. That's remnants of an old scrape. And I think the deer was coming from this bottom back here, back this way, through my neighbor's back of his property. Come up in that gap right there to the left, work that, then came back around and picked up with some of them white oaks we talked about, and then moseyed down here to the creek. Now, the first year we were here, I hung a little gravity feeder out here. And one day, after about a month, I walked back here and bumped up about 8 deer. One of them looked to be a decent little buck. About 2.5 years old. Looked like a young 8-pointer. But I never saw him again. And last year I only got to come one time hunting back here. It was the first day of muzzleloader. And from then on we just got so busy that I didn't have time to hunt. And when I did have time, it was either scalding hot or raining, and it just didn't work out. But that particular day, I was in, I think it was that tree right there. That one right there. Right there. And I had a mama doe and 2 yearlings. They were, hear my owl. We usually have about 3 owls that stay back here. But I had a mama doe and 2 yearlings. They were grown out of their spots. They were way big enough to be on their own. And I decided I'd take mama. And when I got my sights on her and pulled the trigger, I had a bad cap on my muzzleloader, and it just went click. And she didn't know I was there. Babies didn't know I was there. There's old Mr. Owl talking back and forth with me. But because it's muzzleloader and I was hunting in my saddle rig, I didn't carry any extra supplies in the stand with me. So once that cap failed, I didn't have a way to reload. And nothing I could do. Taught me a lesson. But they fed around another 15-20 minutes and then eased on out. And I never made it back in last year. So, hopefully, and nobody hunts this but me, hopefully they all got fat and sassy and have more babies, and we'll have a better shot this year. The only bad thing around here, it doesn't have the best genetics. So your dreams of getting that monster 8, 10, 12, whatever, slim to none. And we have people, and I don't mean to be ugly, there are a lot of hunters, so-called. But I don't know what happened between, excuse me, I was getting a spider out of the way, between their generation and my generation. I don't know if the mom and daddies didn't teach them right, or the grandparents didn't teach them right, or they just don't care, like a lot of folks nowadays don't care. But we have people out here that shoot something every day, all hours of the day and night. And you know, gives hunters, real hunters, a bad name. I personally only shoot back here if I'm hunting. Right now I've got 2 guns I need to fine tune zeroing in, so I got to go somewhere. The more I shoot here, the more it spooks. And then the other bad thing is, like the old redneck joke, when I was a boy, redneck wasn't a funny thing, it was a bad thing. If it's brown, it's down. Well, if you own the land, it's your right, you do what you want, and no one cares. But kind of like my daddy used to say about bass fishing, if you keep all the 1 pound bass and take them home and eat them, you ain't never gonna catch 10 pound bass. You know, you gotta let them grow up. If you want the big racks, you can't shoot them when they're little baby spikes and little scrubby fork horns. Let them get some age on them. If you just want some deer meat, there's plenty of those. Or if you see a deer with a messed up rack and you've seen him for a year or 2 and they just don't look right, then you need to take that one out of the herd. But it's just every time some deer walks by, just shoot it so you can say you shot a deer. That's why you don't get good deer. So back here, I really never expect to see a buck. I really don't expect to shoot one. I'm just happy to take an adult nanny doe, grown doe. Now I'm not going to shoot a doe if she's got babies. Like I said earlier, the one from last year, technically she had babies. But they were at least a year old. They didn't have spots. The mama looked like she weighed a good 100 pounds, give or take a little bit, and the babies look almost as big as mama. But you could tell they were young ones. So basically, if you're lucky back here in a hunting season, you might get 2 does. I have shot a messed up rack buck back here before, but like I said, it was, you know, had a big body, but just didn't have a good rack, never gonna have a good rack. And back here is basically what I'm trying, just to get some meat for the refrigerator. But anyway, this is my little property. I didn't take you the complete full circle. I ain't walking the boundary lines, but we have property that neighbors have on each side of us, back and forth. And down the bottom, as you can see, let me turn it around. Way down yonder, the property stops and it goes to someone else, but that's just a little swamp. No houses in there, nobody. It's basically a creek that runs from miles up the road, just through a little bottom, and drains a couple miles down there, crosses the highway, and then continues on in to the next towns or 2. So when I'm in my tree, I shoot straight down. If I hit or miss, my bullets never leave my property. I kind of avoid bow season here because I don't want deer to run off, and you know, then you gotta try to get permission to check your deer, bother your neighbors, and I just try to do everything in-house. But we are blessed with this little few acres. Some old growth, big old white oaks and beech trees and hickory trees in here. And whether you kill a deer or not, I can come back here and I've watched squirrels and, like a while ago, turtles and snakes, raccoons. We used to have several fox back here. I noticed coyotes pass through. And I can climb a tree and drink some coffee and enjoy sitting out here for a little while. And every now and then, if the conditions is right, I'll get a little meat for the table. But just thought I'd make this little quick one, because a few days back I showed you the property, some of the property I'm going to be hunting in Georgia. So I figured I'd do a little quick one today. We're taking it easy today, trying to avoid a lot of the heat, avoid a lot of the traffic out on the weekend, and getting ready to watch some Alabama football this evening. But just wanted to walk back here and take a little quick look around, see how it was progressing. And then later on this week, I'm gonna try to do a little video. I'll bring my saddle rig out here. I know most people already know what that is, but for those of you that don't, I figured I'd go through the setting it up and the process of climbing. May give somebody an idea. I watch young guys in their 20s, I'm assuming, use this on YouTube, on other people's channels, and a couple of years ago, I liked it. And it looked interesting, so I decided to try it out, and I've enjoyed it. And as I mentioned, ugly old me, I'm 59 now. So if I can still climb a tree and hunting this thing for 5 or 6 hours at a time and be comfortable, and not strain myself while I'm trying to walk this old log to get back up here, then I believe if I can do it, any of y'all should be able to. It's not stressful. Really, it's about as breathtaking and hard as climbing a ladder to check your gutters. But till next time, hopefully you enjoyed this little walkabout. If you like the little videos, and like I promised, we're going to start cranking out at least 2 or 3 every week, if not more. So stick with us. But please tell your friends, hit the like and subscribe. We need all the help we can get. And we're going to try to take you on some more woods exploring and hunting, and some fishing trips coming up. And hopefully we'll have a good time. And as I said before, I'm not an expert at nothing, but I've been trying to do this kind of stuff most of my life, and we enjoy it. And it's pretty and it's fun. If you like seeing the outdoors, can't swear we'll see a deer when we're hunting or whatever, but we'll show you some pretty country. So till next time, please come back and join us again. Tell your friends, hit the like and subscribe, and if the good Lord's willing the creek don't rise, we'll see y'all down the road later. Thank y'all.